My name is Dave Boatman. I'm a professional cartoonist and caricature artist. I work primarily in Southern California, but I do cartoons and caricatures for clients all over the world. Well, I've always loved drawing. My mother was an artist, kind of got me started early. You know when you have kids in school who are the school artists? I was one of the 4 or 5 all through elementary school and high school. Always drew for the school newspaper. We would do caricatures of the principal, and they put it in the school newspaper, kind of like Mad Magazine. We got called to the principal's office one day, and the principal liked what he saw and expanded the newspaper so we could draw more cartoons. And they were always clean, funny stories, and we never drew anybody in a bad light. And then I just came out to California and got into advertising, was a creative director, always did cartoons for all the agencies, always did caricatures, drew at a lot of events. And then about 10 years ago, after my 3 sons were all grown and left the nest, I said, I'm going to do what I like best, and that's cartoon and caricature. So I started my own company about 10 years ago, and it's been all uphill ever since. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Oh, well, we do a lot of weddings, private parties, that could be birthday parties, promotions. People get promotions, want to have a party. Going away parties, they want to have a going away party for somebody. A retirement party is big. You also do gift caricatures for all those types of things, which is what I also do. We do trade shows. A lot of companies love having a caricature artist in the booth because it draws attention as you're drawing a crowd. Little pun intended, but you get the people around the trade show booth and they like you. Movie premiere parties. We do a lot of fundraising events. So there's so many, and California is a vast community with lots of people. So there's lots of birthday parties. So a little tip and advice is that if you're going to be a caricature artist, move to a major big city. I had one artist who I met at the International Society of Caricature Artists Expo in 2005. He lives out in Indio. I think Indio has 4,000 people. And he asked me how I could work all the time. Well, I live in California, Southern California, which has about, what, 25 million people? There's a little difference in the quantity of people. So that's the kind of events and the type of events that we work at. Well, you know, it's a very professional industry. Also, if you refer a caricature artist to come and work with you, like I'll get a call for 3 or 4 caricatures at an event. Well, I know all the caricature artists in Southern California. I've worked with them for years. I know them. I know who shows up on time, who's professional, who dresses professional. If you're bringing caricature artists to an event, you have to have somebody who's dependable and reliable. Because if you show up and the other talent doesn't, they don't get mad at the other talent, the party event planner or the people who are booking the party. They'll get mad at you because you were the one. So I'm very selective. There's about 3 or 4 people that I use all the time. Another thing, I do get asked to bring other caricature artists. Other caricature artists will sometimes broker off a fellow artist, meaning if the event pays a certain rate, they'll add $25 on for themselves, or they'll take $25 for themselves and cut out the other artist, lessen his booking rate. I don't do that. I believe in just networking and helping each other. All I ask is that the other artists, if I use them, return the favor. I've given events to 3 or 4 artists and they've never returned the favor. I still love them, I still like their work, but they just don't get any more events from me. And you should always reciprocate. I think that's a very good business tactic. You should always give back. You have to earn the confidence of me before I'm going to book you at an event to draw with me. Because there are caricature artists who are great artists, but they always show up 5 minutes before their start time. That's not good. The host and the party planner are going, where's the caricature artist? Even though if you're scheduled to start drawing at 7, and if you walk in at 5 to 7, you can set up in 5 minutes and be ready to go at 7. The host and the party event planner, they don't like that because for a half hour you've put stress on them. Where's the artist? Where's the artist? That's why I like to always get to my events at least no later than 45 minutes before my start time. That way they look at me, they say, great, Dave's here, we don't have to worry about him. And I set up in 5 or 10 minutes and I'm ready to go. So those kind of things when you're hiring another artist are very important. Well, one thing I always do is, I get an inquiry. We get thousands of inquiries. And they say, oh, hold a date for me. But they don't always follow back with us whether it's going to be a go or not. I always follow up. I always send, hey, 2 weeks ago, you sent me this to hold the date, just following up. Is the event still on? Most of the time, people will say, I'm sorry, no, or yes, it is. But every now and then you get a person who just doesn't respond to you. So I wait another week, and then I'll send them an email. I can only assume from your lack of response that you've picked another caricature artist or another form of entertainment. Thank you for the inquiry. I know your event will be a big success. Please keep me in mind for future things. They should, as a business back and forth, it goes a two-way street. If we're holding a date, people who've asked a caricature artist about a date, if they're not going to use them, they should get back to them and let them know, hey, this is the business, it happens. You can't always get every event that you get an inquiry for. Another thing I like to do is after every event, I send this is from my ad agency experience, I send a very detailed event report as soon as I get back. Even if I get back at 2 in the morning, by 2:30 a.m. in the morning, the agent has a complete detail event, says when I got there, when I arrived, when I set up, when I started, anything that happened during the event. I learned from ad agency days, if you went to a meeting and then came home and did a meeting report, and then God forbid, but you dropped down dead, anybody should be able to read your meeting report and know exactly what happened during the entire meeting. So I have a lot of booking agents who love, now I only send the event reports to booking agents. I don't send it to private parties. Like if Mrs. Smith hires me to do her daughter's birthday, I don't send her a event report. But I send the event reports to agents, and they love it because we all do so many events. It's hard to keep track of what happened at each event. This way, if there was an incident, I'll give you a little example. I did a Christmas party where the woman put me way upstairs in the master bedroom, out of sight, out of mind. I drew for 3 hours. At the end of 3 hours, I came down. She said, oh, I want you to stay an extra overtime hour. I had her sign the agent's business card, sign it. These are the times, so you want to document it for her, yourself, and the agent. I went upstairs and like only 1 or 2 people came upstairs because party's in the backyard, I'm up here. So at the end of the party, I went home and wrote the agent a complete report and explained all that. About a week later, the agent called me and said, the woman doesn't want to pay that extra hour because she said you only drew 2 people. And I said, remember the event report? And he read it, he went, you're right. And when he confronted her with the event report, she said, okay, and she paid the extra hour. It helps all parties if you detail it and document it. If there's a problem, tell the agent there was a problem. Tell your side of the story, be as truthful as you can, and it'll all play out. Thank heavens, I think I've only had, like, out of 10 years of doing this professionally, I think only 1 incident, and it turned out really good, so. Sure, if you're gonna hire a caricature artist, put him in a place where he is seen at the party. So many times they'll put you in an outside foyer lobby while the party's in another big room, and they're in the party and dancing, but if you're going to have a caricature artist, put him in the party, not in the room outside the party, because he'll draw more. He'll draw more people. He'll be noticeable. Now, most caricature artists wear all black or should wear all black, so they're not standing out, like Elton John at a concert, right, with a flashy outfit. And we have draw lights, which don't bring a lot of attention to us, but the people at the party should also be able to see the caricature artist and know that he's there. Another thing is, place your caricature artist where he's not going to be distracted. Sometimes they put us right next to the DJ, and those speakers are blaring music into our ear. It's very annoying, and you can't concentrate when you're trying to draw people. You have to have concentration to draw somebody in 4 to 5 minutes, which is what the average caricature takes to draw, depending on the guest in the chair. We can't yell at guests because they're talking to their friends while they're in the chair because it's a party. You can't say, hey, look at me, look at me. You can't say that. You have to be polite. And so it depends on the guest in the chair and also the environment. If you're outside in the sun, put the artist under a shade tent, because the people in the chair being drawn, if they're not in the shade tent, they're going to be squinting because the sun's in their eye. If it's a windy day, keep them away from the wind, because you ever try to draw a caricature while you're holding the sheet down and it's blowing away. Keep them in the shade. Shade is, again, very important. A lot of people don't think about that. I bring my own shade umbrella. If you're a caricature artist, you better come prepared with extra plugs, extra light bulbs, extra markers. I mean, I bring a nice sized bag that's easy to carry, lightweight. I bring my own table and 2 chairs. There's been events where I come and the guests forgot to put up a table and chairs, or ask the artist, what do you need from me? They should always ask the artist, agents and people who are booking artists, what do you need? What do you require? That way, the artist gets to the event and it's there for them. I have a 30-foot plug extension cord, a multi-purpose plug that I can put 4 or 5 outlets into. All these things come in, you know, to make the party go smoothly and stuff like this. Also, keep them away from the DJ. Be aware of the guest in the chair, because we've done bar mitzvahs. Every caricature artist has done a bar mitzvah. 13-year-old boys can get rowdy at times if they're away from their parents, and they do things that are not proper to do to a caricature artist. Annoy him, bump him, throw stuff at him. I mean, you know, not all parties, but the boys will be boys. And I always try to handle it very professionally, asking them very politely, because they are the guests. I'm just the vendor working the event. Please don't do that. And after 2 warnings, I'll just tell them that I'm going to stop drawing now and get the host and inform her, since she's paying for my time, that some of her guests are stopping me from doing my job and I need her help. And usually that stops them, you know. So, but most kids are great at events. But every now and then, I don't carry a stun gun. Well, I think you're always going to have all the parties that we talked about. You know, there's always people retiring, graduating, people having birthday parties, bar mitzvahs. They're always going to be that. You'll see trends in, a lot of people say, hey, how about color caricatures? Well, color caricatures are usually done at retail locations, like at Knott's Berry Farm at Disneyland, because you're paying more money per each individual caricature. Most of the times at a party or a private event, the host pays for the caricature artist, so the artwork is free to the guest. But if you go to a retail store, I once quoted a gift caricature to a woman on the phone, and she said, oh, that's way too much money. I can go to Disneyland and get it done for $35. And I said, no, first you have to drive to Disneyland, then pay $79 to get into the park, and then pay for parking, and then find the retail location and pay the $35. So when you start adding all that up, plus your time there and back, it's better to have an original piece of art, similar to the quality that's in Mad Magazine, the really good caricature art, and pay the artist for that. Another thing that people seem to think is that coloring a caricature at a party takes more time. It's going to limit the number of caricatures that are drawn per hour, because you first got to draw the caricature, then you got to color it in. It takes time. So if you want to try to get between the 10 and 14 average caricatures per hour, black and white with a little bit of gray shading goes a lot quicker than doing flesh tones and adding the hair color and the eye color. If you want to speed up a caricature, heads instead of heads and bodies. You know, if you want quality over quantity, then they're going to draw a better caricature, take a little bit more time. If you want quantity over quality, we're going to rock and roll. 2 friends of mine did the Shaggy Dog movie premiere party, and they had 2 of us here and 1 at the far corner. The woman at the event stood by us and kept going, faster, faster, faster. We were drawing 2-minute caricatures to begin with. So finally I looked at my friend and I said, just draw a smile face, and if the guy has glasses, put glasses on him. If he has a mustache, draw a smile face with a mustache. That way we could do 15-second caricatures and be faster for her. So, you know, it's all a speed thing. Be cognizant of the fact that the artist is drawing as fast as he can, you know. So little things like that. I also see a trend where a lot of artists are starting, because we're technology, are using digital caricatures. I think that's a great art. I'm old school. I draw everything by my hand, not freehand, which is a computer program or Illustrator. I draw with this hand right here, and I use Sharpie markers and watercolors. What I do is I got a lot of pokers and a lot of fires because of the recession. I teach a cartoon class all over at libraries, day camps, parks and rec, country clubs, all over Southern California. And I've been doing that for the last 5 or 6 years. I have 7 different classes. We have the Pirates cartoon class, where you learn about pirates and draw cartoon pirates. We have the Spooky Halloween class, which I've been doing all October, where we draw all the Halloween cartoons. I have an imagination cartoon class where we draw cartoons from numbers, letters, squiggles. So there's 7 different classes, and a few of the parents who come to my library cartoon classes, they started calling me up and hiring me to come and do the cartoon class at their child's birthday parties. So there's 35 kids, and the good thing about having a cartoon class is, whether you're at a library or at a private party, you have a captive audience of 25 to 278 kids. At the end of the cartoon class, you hold up your caricature samples and say, by the way, I do caricatures at birthday parties. And all their parents will come up and get your business card. It's a good aftermarket type technique. And I do a lot of gift caricatures. People all over, Warner Brothers Studios hired me to do a caricature of the leading choral director in England. And I said, I have a good friend, Steve, who lives in England. Why don't you just hire him? And they said they liked my style. So I drew the caricature, and it cost $98 to UPS the art from LA to England. So with the internet and the way that we are today, you can have clients all over the world. So, and I do a lot of regular cartoons for businesses, like safety cartoons, cartoons that you see in magazines to advertise tires and sporting events, anything you can think of in advertising with a cartoon, and I do those type of cartoons. So that's about my career in a nutshell. A lot of gift caricatures, humorous illustrations. I do a lot for newspapers and magazines, the little spot cartoons you read that are funny in the newspapers. I've been syndicated. I had a greeting card line out internationally. So I just love what I'm doing. So if you can do one thing that you love, make it your job, right?